So here's the thing. With the way things are going, the future looks uncertain. The future looks uncertain for everyone. Whether you're an immigrant or not, the future just looks rather bleak, unfortunately. Sorry to be blunt, but that's how things are looking. Looking at the climate nowadays. But immigrants especially are paying the price. Migrant workers are paying the price. But before I get into that, I want to address a comment quite quickly. Now, someone made a comment saying that, please leave Zimbabweans alone. I'm enjoying it here. This comment was made on the video that I made a few weeks ago, talking about some of the reasons why people were actually deciding to leave the UK, because there are people who are actually packing their bags and leaving the UK because for them things have become unbearable. So that is happening. It's not a rumor, it's not just speculation. These things are happening. So what I will say regarding that comment which says, please leave Zimbabweans alone, I'm enjoying it here. That's fair enough. I accept that. And in that video as well, if you watch the video, I also mentioned the good things about life in the UK. And I've been in the UK for 24 years now, and I can tell you without a doubt that there are wonderful things in the UK. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be here, would I? Or someone might say, I'm here because I don't have a choice. That could be true to some extent, because if I'm to be honest, if I had a choice, I would live in Africa. And for me, it's purely because of the weather. I always complain about the weather. You know how much I don't like the cold. Purely because of the weather, and also because it is home. Home is always best, but UK as well has become my home. I like it here as well. There are many wonderful things about the UK. But having said that, let us not forget that there are people who are paying the price. There are people whose lives have been turned upside down as we speak. Lives have been ruined. A lot of immigrants are suffering right now as we speak. So while it is okay for someone to say, I'm enjoying life here, and I accept that, I'm also enjoying life here, but I can't ignore the fact that there are people who are paying the price. There are people, as we all know, who sold everything they had back home, whether it's Zimbabwe, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, or Asia, Asian countries. We have seen the documentaries. I've made videos on this channel. Those videos are not in the past. Of course, they were shot in the past, but what I'm trying to say is those things are still happening as we speak. There are people who sold everything they had. They sold their houses, they sold their cattle, they sold everything basically to come over here to the UK because they had been promised a better life, only to come and discover that actually the companies who sponsored them are fake. They are not legit companies. And also there are people who came and got jobs. They started working only to get letters through the post, weeks, months later, telling them that the company they work for is no longer a legitimate company. The license has been revoked. This has happened. This is still happening. So people are paying the price of other people's mistakes. They are paying the price. And that is not fair. And also, in the same vein, the people who are discovering all these things about their circumstances, who are being told that you've got 60 days to sort something out or leave the country. These people now, when they try to approach the companies that they work for, the owners of those companies, when they try to approach, they are being threatened. They are being threatened with all kinds of things. And that is not right. That is not fair. And as we know, soon after relocating, it takes a while for someone to know how things work. And people don't know their rights. They don't know how to go about things. And when those threats come, they panic because they don't know, as I said, how to go about things. But what I'll say in such a situation is there are unions that help people in all kinds of situations. So what I would advise people is when they start working for a company, they should join a union. In the UK, there are all kinds of unions that one can join. Depending on the type of job that you do, you can join a union. So please find out what union you can join and join a union. You only have to pay a small subscription every month because that subscription will come in handy later on down the line when you're facing these kinds of threats. When someone is threatening to call the Home Office on you, when someone is threatening to sack you, or when you're being mistreated at work, because we know that is happening a lot. It is happening, and people are suffering in silence simply because they are scared. They are scared of deportation because they see people getting deported, and people are getting deported. You may not read about it, you may not see it in the news. It's because it has become the norm nowadays. So some things are not being talked about, but that doesn't mean that those things are not happening. So as I said, people are paying the price. Because what we've got to realize is that most Africans here are not here out of choice. They didn't decide to come here thinking, okay, I'll go and see how things go. I'll give it 3 months, 6 months. If I don't like it, I'll come back home and continue my life. That's not the situation for the majority of Africans here. Most of us came out of desperation because we are desperate for jobs which we don't have in our countries. I'm just going to call a thing a thing. Most people given the choice, if they had the jobs that they really want, most people given the choice, they would go back home. So as I said, people are paying the price. They are paying the price of someone else's mistakes. They are paying the price of just wanting a better life for themselves. We all want to live better lives. We all want better for ourselves. It is normal. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. But in wanting that, unfortunately, people have paid the price for it. And I'll also tell you how else people are paying the price. Because these days, there's a lot of talk about cutting down immigration. There's a lot of talk. Like immigration has become the buzzword nowadays. And because there's a lot of talk, the atmosphere has become somewhat tense. I don't want to lie to you. The climate has changed. And unfortunately, because people seem, I'm talking about the natives of this country, they seem very unhappy because of immigration. They no longer want people to come to the UK. And unfortunately, those of us who are already here are facing the consequences. As I said, the atmosphere is tense. And in some parts, there are times as well when you will come across some kind of aggro because of the general negative feeling towards immigration. So if you're like me, sometimes you feel a bit of discomfort because, as I said, the attitudes have changed. And because of what is being said more often now, of what is being said in the news, videos are being made talking about the negative impact of immigration on the UK, how the British culture is now being impacted because of foreigners. There's a lot of talk right now regarding that, and that is making people really uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes you feel bad knowing that your presence in the country is not welcome. It makes me feel uncomfortable, to be quite honest with you. I never used to feel like that because I've always regarded the UK to be a welcoming society. And on the whole, it is a welcoming society. Not everyone is like that. Not everyone will be aggressive towards you as an immigrant. Not everyone is like that. And I want to make that perfectly clear. But because of the general feel, the general talk, and just the other day, the Prime Minister tweeted talking about how happy or how proud he felt because of the changes that had been made to immigration. And some of these changes, we know what those changes are. Dependents are no longer allowed to come and join their families. So you can imagine if you're here working, you've got a job, and maybe the job is paying you well, whether you're a student or in a different capacity here in the UK. If you're here working, as I said, you're settled, how do you feel knowing that your family is not allowed to join you? How does that make you feel as a person? Because remember, I made a video the other time talking about our needs as people. And if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, family and belonging is one of those basic needs. They are right at the bottom. And we know that if some of our needs are not met, it is impossible for us to achieve higher things because your life is being disrupted because you don't have those basic needs. And family is a basic need. So that is being taken away. That's why I say people are paying the price for this. They're paying the price for other people's mistakes. They're paying the price of just the change, how things are changing in general. And I'll also tell you another thing as well. The cost of living. We know that things have gone up. Yes, now they're talking about how things are starting to settle. There's a lot of talk about that. They're talking about prices coming down or remaining stable. Yes, that may be true, but mind you, that doesn't mean that when the prices went up, the salaries went up as well. That's not what it means. So we're still getting impacted by the cost of living. And also just the other day, I think it was yesterday, when I read an article about some companies bidding for bills to rise, especially the water bill. Some companies actually want the bills to go up. So it's like someone is giving you one thing and someone is taking that thing away from you. And for immigrants, those who have to renew their visas, those who have to now look for other visas are paying the price because of the visa fee hikes. Because bills still need to be paid, mind you. People still need to eat. But at the same time, the price of visas keep going up and up. Things are not predictable nowadays. You wake up one morning and things have changed. So those people are paying the price. They are having to face the cost of living crisis as well. At the same time, they are facing the visa fee hikes. So these people are paying the price for all the changes that are taking place. And some of the changes, they can't be helped. And just the other day, the Prime Minister of Britain gave this prophecy of doom. He talked about how he's expecting the next few years to be really difficult, to be challenging for the UK. And in his speech, he mentioned a few things. And when you listen to the speech or when you read that speech as an immigrant, it kind of makes you wonder how these changes or how these challenges will impact you in the future. It kind of makes you think, especially because of the way things are becoming unpredictable nowadays. There's this looming sense of disaster that you can't help but feel, because the Prime Minister's words are quite ominous and they're quite chilling, quite frankly. Because yes, as much as they will affect everyone in the UK, whether you're an immigrant or not, because that's what the speech implies, everyone will be affected. But for an immigrant, knowing how unpredictable things have become, it kind of makes you wonder. It kind of makes you worry a little bit, to be quite honest with you, whether your visa situation is sorted or not. It just makes you think. It makes you think. So this is why I say immigrants are paying the price. Yes, the changes are happening everywhere in the global economy, prices going up and so forth. But immigrants especially are paying the price for that because of all these other challenges that they have to contend with. So yeah, this is what I had for you in this video. I don't know what you make of this. What are your thoughts when it comes to everything that I've said in this video? Are we paying the price, or do you think that I'm just being dramatic? So let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.